My name is Noah Meir. I'm the CEO of the Charney Forum for New Diplomacy. With us today is Professor Jeffrey Morton from Florida Atlantic University and Director of the Leon Charney Diplomacy Program. Can you please tell us about the diplomacy program that you established at Florida Atlantic University, and also talk a bit about the academic diplomacy simulations and the national model United Nations competition?
The diplomacy program at Florida Atlantic University was established in 1996. It trains undergraduate students in the art of diplomacy, negotiation, conflict resolution, post-conflict rehabilitation. The students are trained in public speaking, in research, drafting United Nations documents. They participate in two major competitions. The first is in November each year in Washington, D.C., the National Model United Nations, and the second is in April, the spring semester in New York City.
What do you foresee as potential implications of the coronavirus on diplomacy and globalization?
I think like with any international crisis, you have to first look at the geopolitical background. And what we see is a competition between two very different geopolitical orders. On the one hand, there's the cosmopolitan order, where nation states are sewn together through common interest. They work together in a positive sum fashion to solve problems or take advantage of opportunities. If that's the order that we exist in, the coronavirus is going to greatly increase the amount of communication, cooperation, and coordination among governments and as well people. So people-to-people diplomacy would greatly increase as a result, if indeed the cosmopolitan world order wins out. On the other side of the coin is the more traditional and nationalistic world order of realpolitik, where nations feel that they're competing with each other for scarce resources. I would be a great deal more optimistic about the positive impact it will have on diplomacy at the government and the people level. But over the course of these last 10 years, we've seen nationalists elected and strengthened in major powers around the world, from Russia to the United Kingdom, India, Brazil, and here in the United States in 2016, and one could certainly argue in Israel as well. And what that means is we're seeing a lot more competition among nations to gather as many resources as possible at the expense of others.
Do you foresee the continued weakening of government as a result of the coronavirus, alongside the strengthening of non-government actors and civic society?
One of the most important implications of the novel coronavirus will be the impact on governments on the one hand and people organizations on the other. At the moment, it appears that this crisis is strengthening the hands of governments, particularly those in the industrial world, in countries where government structures are already very strong, and simultaneously weakening them in countries that have struggled to develop politically, countries that don't have the capacity to address the many needs of their citizens. When we think about people-to-people diplomacy, cooperation across non-government lines, this is the area that the assistance and the cooperation will be greatest, where countries like the United States or France or Israel are able to connect to people across Asia, Africa, and Latin America, provide them with information, if not resources, that their communities desperately need to confront this terrible virus.
You also touched a bit about this before, but every crisis serves as an opportunity. What are a few potential opportunities that you identify as a result of the coronavirus?
There's an old saying in politics that no crisis should go to waste, and the coronavirus is an historic crisis. One of the questions we have to think about answering is, how does this impact governments, international organizations, and non-governmental organizations? Governments are going to be held certainly to very high standards because their primary purpose is to protect their citizens. International organizations have the opportunity to carve out a space in global diplomacy to say that this is our purpose, is to help countries communicate, share information, and share resources. But maybe the greatest implication will be for non-governmental organizations, people-to-people networks, in which the engaged citizens of one country are able to reach out, communicate with, and assist those very much in need of information and resources in other countries. I would like to congratulate the Charney Forum for New Diplomacy. This is the sort of program that the world needs, the world should appreciate. It is a program that connects people from disparate backgrounds, social, economic, ethno-religious. And I think that the more programs such as this that we have, the better prepared we are to confront challenges, but also to take advantage of opportunities as the century unfolds.